Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, while U.S. forces continue major combat operations against Iran. This comes after joint U.S.-Israeli strikes killed Iran's supreme leader, triggering missile retaliation across the region. We now go to NTD's Washington correspondent, Jack Bradley. Jack, so let's begin with Israel's latest military action in Lebanon. What are we learning about these new strikes?
Right, so the Israeli military says that it completed a broad wave of airstrikes targeting Hezbollah infrastructure over in southern Lebanon. That's just north of Israel. Israeli officials say that 70 targets were hit, including weapons facilities and launch sites. Now, this comes after Hezbollah terrorists fired rockets toward northern Israel. Take a look.
Overnight, the IDF carried out retaliatory strikes against several Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, including command and control centers, launch sites, and senior terrorists. We were ready for this. As part of the preparations for our operation in Iran, the IDF prepared for an attack from Hezbollah, allowing us to carry out a swift response.
Now, Iran has targeted Israel and neighboring countries in this war, hitting not just military targets, but civilian infrastructure. Iran firing missiles at airports, hotels, residences in Israel, but also in Dubai and Bahrain and other neighboring countries. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has visited one of these sites in just west of Jerusalem here, and that was hit by an Iranian missile. Here's what he said at the scene.
When I stand here in a place that was bombarded by the terrorists in Tehran against innocent civilians, you see the difference. The tyrants of Tehran target civilians. We target the tyrants of Tehran to protect civilians. I've said for many years that they threaten not only Israel and not only America. They chant death to Israel, death to America. That's their ultimate target. But I said that they would also target those in between, that they would target Europe.
Now, like Netanyahu said, there is support emerging from Europe, although they may not be contributing to the offensive against Iran. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says many European leaders are on board. Watch.
I really commend what is happening here. Taking out Khamenei, taking out the nuclear capability in Iran, but also taking out the ballistic missile program in Iran. This is crucial. And what I see in Europe, I spoke with all the key European leaders over the weekend, is widespread support for what the president is doing.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain just issued a notice saying that there are certain sites in the country that could become targets by Iran. Don.
And Jack, we're seeing an expansion of U.S. involvement in the region. What's the Pentagon saying?
Well, the Pentagon coming out just now saying that 2 days ago there were 11 ships, Iranian ships, in the Gulf of Oman. Today they have 0, with the U.S. striking out all of them. Pentagon officials say that this is one of hundreds of missions that have already been launched under Operation Epic Fury, delivering tens of thousands of explosives. We saw 3 American F-15 fighter jets that were mistakenly shot down by Kuwaiti Air Force defense systems during active combat, though. Kuwaiti forces misidentified these American jets as threats. All 6 crew members ejected safely. At the same time, a 4th service member has been confirmed dead from injuries in Operation Epic Fury, U.S. service member. Officials say that one Iranian missile slipped through U.S. air defenses and then struck an operations center. U.S. officials also caution that major combat operations are ongoing and more casualties are possible. Take a look.
This is not a single overnight operation. The military objectives that CENTCOM and the Joint Force have been tasked with will take some time to achieve, and in some cases will be difficult and gritty work. We expect to take additional losses, and as always, we will work to minimize U.S. losses.
General Dan Kane also issuing a stern warning to anyone helping Iran. Here he is.
To those who would test our resolve or threaten the United States, our allies, or our interests, understand clearly we can reach you, we can sustain the fight, and we can scale the fight, and we will prevail.
And then we know that the biggest backer of the Iranian regime has long been the Chinese Communist Party, accounting for half of the Iranian regime's income. That's according to a congressionally appointed U.S.-China commission up here on Capitol Hill. They reported that in 2024, China bought 90% of Iran's sanctioned oil. Don.
All right, Jack. Thank you. Joining us now to discuss this further is retired